Good evening, it's 5:15, it's time to begin our meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, roll call will show that all council members are present. Let's move on to the consent agenda, which includes approval of minutes of the February 9th, 2026 meeting. Bills and claims and licenses and permits, including renewal of Class E retail alcohol license for Casey's General Store number 3082, renewal of special Class C retail alcohol license, GMB Foods Incorporated, doing business in Carroll as Godfather's Pizza. Are there any questions regarding that?
So moved.
You wanna make a motion to, approve the consent agenda? Okay, all right, so,
Jason and Jeff.
Jason and Jeff.
Got my name already?
Yeah.
You'll remember by the end of this, I'm sure.
All right, roll call vote, please.
Coster,
Yes.
Seaman,
Yes.
Dirk,
Yes.
Atherton,
Yes.
Bauer,
Yes.
Taylor.
Yes.
Motion is approved.
Are there any oral requests or communications from the audience that would not relate to anything that's on this evening? Okay, go on, give us your name and 5 minutes.
Yeah, Kim Tiefenthaler, I just want to talk about the tournament, basketball tournament we had this weekend. What a turnout for Carroll. Thank the rec center for letting us allow them chamber to use their 2 courts, but every court in town was used. All the restaurants, everybody was really happy with the turnout they had this weekend. So it was a great showing for Carroll this weekend again. So hats off to Ashley Shable, the chamber, and then the rest of her crew. I'm not gonna sit here and name them all, but there's a lot of volunteers. So I just wanted to bring that up. It was a great showing for Carroll again.
Doing that.
Were your enrollments up this year or down as far as teams, you know?
Teams, I think, were up, but, you know, she's the one you really need to ask, but, you know, I worked the Fairview gym, and what a great crowd. Everything went smooth, no problems at all, so it's a great outing, great thing for Carroll, so.
All right, thank you. All right, moving on to ordinances. We'll begin with the 12th Street reconstruction. We'll open a public hearing. It is 5:18 p.m. on the proposed plan specs and form of contract and estimated cost. And Randy?
Thank you, Mayor. This is the time for the public hearing on the plans for the 12th Street project. They were submitted or filed on November 11th of 25 by McClure Engineering Company. They do detail the work on 12th Street, including removal and replacement of the paving, sidewalk work, box culvert, municipal utilities, and some other associated work on 12th, as you recall, between Northwest and Grant Road. The specifications are the DOT standard specifications for bridge and highway construction. And the form of contract will also be the DOT standard form. Those are required due to the federal aid funding as part of the project. The estimated construction cost of the project is $4,601,411.60. That, with that estimate, the total project cost would currently, at least at the time, be estimated at $5,277,476.60. And the funding is sourced from about 8 different areas, and currently totaling $5,275,017.88. So unless there are any questions, I'd recommend continuing the public hearing and your consideration of adoption of the plans, specification, form of contract, and estimate of cost for the 12th Street project.
Okay. Anyone from the audience want to speak on this? All right, any questions or comments from council?
I want to say something for the residents of 12th Street that are here. We appreciate you guys showing up, and especially I know there was something with the sidewalks that got resolved because of it. So it's always good to see citizens come in here. You know, I mean, your voice is heard, and hopefully we were able to somewhat make a difference for you. So So thank you.
Okay. All right, if there are no further comments, I would look for a resolution adopting the plans.
We need to close those.
I'm sorry, thank you very much. We need to close the public hearing, it's 5:20. And now, we want to have
Approval of the resolution.
approval of the resolution adopting plan specs and form of contract and estimated cost. By Jason?
Second.
Jeff, seconded. A roll call, please.
Taylor?
Yes.
Dirks?
Yes.
Atherton?
Yes.
Seaman?
Yes.
Bauer?
Yes.
Coster?
Yes.
Resolution's approved.
Ordinance.
Right. Okay, we're gonna move on to, the 12th Street reconstruction ordinance amending provisions pertaining to street grades.
Thank you, Mayor. Iowa code does require that paving cannot be constructed unless it will be to grade upon construction. The city code of ordinances does maintain a record of all street grades that have been previously adopted or established by ordinance. We've prepared a proposed ordinance to establish the street grades on the 12th Street reconstruction project. It includes 12th Street, of course, from northwest to Grant Road. In addition, it includes a short section of West Street that will be reconstructed and a short section of 13th Street that will be reconstructed. A small part of ordinance number 147, dated May 9th of 1960, did establish a grade on 12th Street between Court Street and Clark Street. That portion of that ordinance will be repealed pursuant to Section 2 of the proposed ordinance upon its passage and approval. So unless there are any questions, I'd recommend your consideration of passage and approval of the ordinance establishing the street grades on the 12th Street reconstruction project.
Any questions for Randy?
Why was that originally put in there that now we have to repeal it, I guess?
It was established at in 1960. That section of road, that's the only section of 12th Street that was established by ordinance
Oh, okay.
at that time. So this project reconstructs the entire length, so we included the entire length in the new ordinance.
I got a question, looking at this map, it crosses Grant Road on 12th Street. The map does.
Okay. The project does not.
Okay.
The project actually ends on the west edge. The crossing, actually, of the intersection of 12th and Grant, we don't do any paving reconstruction there, but we are correcting or building the pedestrian curb ramps on the east side of Grant Road.
Okay.
So there's a couple of curb ramps there is why the construction limit shows to be to the east side of Grant Road.
Okay, thank you.
Randy, I see it's presented here with suggested considering of waiving second and third readings.
That would be our recommendation
And-
to adopt it tonight.
Is there a reason to have it finished this evening that would be helpful for us, or?
No, it could go on to another meeting, would be okay, but it's kind of a technicality. Actually, in all actuality, the plans that you just adopted do contain this same profile that we had to create into an ordinance.
Okay,
So it's basically been adopted.
okay. Will
To me, we've been talking about this a long time already, so if there's been any feedback, obviously there was, but now it's been taken care of. So.
Mhm. Yes.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
I would look for a motion to approve this and waive the second and third readings if there is one.
So moved.
By Laverne,
Second.
second by Jeff. Roll call, please.
Seaman?
Yes.
Bauer?
Yes.
Coster?
Yes.
Dirks?
Yes.
Atherton?
Yes.
Taylor?
Yes.
Motion's approved.
I move the adoption of the ordinance.
Second.
Okay. By Jeff, Carolyn seconded. Roll call, please.
Gaylor?
Yes.
Dirks?
Yes.
Seaman?
Yes.
Atherton?
Yes.
Coster?
Yes.
Bauer?
Yes.
Resolution is adopted.
Good. And now a consideration of bids and award of the contract. Randy.
Thank you, Mayor. As a result of some continuing receipt of information following the preparation of the original ordinance, we have amended it and provided you a copy of the amendment for tonight's consideration. Bids for the construction project were received by the DOT on February 17th. They were publicly open and read. I have attached a copy of the apparent bids that the DOT had provided, 4 bids bids from 4 contractors. Actually, the DOT has now authorized, they've reviewed the bids and authorized your award of the contract, if you so desire. Holstein Excavating from Edgerton, Minnesota, was the low bidder at $3,833,657.25. And as I say, the DOT has authorized your award of the contract if you so desire. Based on that bid, the total project cost is now estimated at $4,509,722.25.
And what was the original estimate? You had an estimate prior to this before.
Yeah.
4 or 5 was it?
It was $4,601,000
Okay.
plus.
That was the estimated construction cost. Now the
Yeah.
total project with everything is 4.5.
Right.
Yeah,
okay.
and so the total estimate prior was the 5.2.
Okay.
Okay, unless there are any questions, I'd recommend your consideration of award of the contract to Holstein Construction at their bid price of $3,833,657.25.
So moved.
Jason?
Second.
By Jeff. Roll call, please.
Atherton?
Yes.
Seaman?
Yes.
Dirks?
Yes.
Gaylor?
Yes.
Bauer?
Yes.
Coster?
Yes.
Resolution is approved.
Okay. And we'll move on to vacation of a portion of Southeast Street, and Dave.
Open a public hearing.
Oh, yeah, thank you very much. We need to open a public hearing again, it's 5:28 PM. And now Dave.
Thank you, Mayor. This matter comes before the council. This is the time and place for vacation of a portion of Southeast Street. The Planning and Zoning Commission has recommended to the city council that a portion of Southeast Street be vacated. Notice of the public hearing, which is required for this vacation, was published in the Carroll Herald and established tonight as the time and place for the public hearing. Council should conduct a public hearing and consider any public comments prior to making any determination on the proposed vacation. And again, this is by ordinance, and I believe it's recommended that the ordinance be approved and the second and third readings waived for final approval of the ordinance. Thank you.
So I guess I have a couple questions. One, once we vacate this property, like we probably have utility lines and stuff like that in there, right?
We have a sewer line and a water line, correct?
Yes.
So who's responsible for that once we vacate this property?
Kemper High School will have to move those for us.
Okay, all right. Okay. But I would also like to recommend not doing, let's do another reading on it, just because we're vacating public land. I think that we should not abstain, not that we're gonna say no, but just, we're vacating something that belongs to the public.
Okay.
We should give them more than just, one time. That's what I would suggest. So that's my opinion.
John, is there any reason you need it all 3 tonight, or can we do like Jason's saying?
We haven't heard from our contractor for when they wanted to start for sure. They were hoping March sometime.
We would be back before, we would be back for the meeting.
Well, our first, it would be
March
the
9th.
9th. If they wanted to start that first week or two, that could be a problem.
Any other comment from the council, how about from the public? Anyone want to address this? John, do you want to come on up?
Sure. John Steffes from Kemper, and just a reference, I know there was a memo of understanding signed by the mayor on May 27th last year about this topic, but just a little history, after a lot of strategic planning at Kemper, well over a year and a half, we've had many renditions of what we should do for our major building project and our master facilities plan. And so we hope to move forward with an efficient one-campus operation for our whole PK-12 school operations by adding on to our elementary building and crossing into Southeast Street. And that, we feel this is gonna be the best option out of many for our school operations. This was best for our long-term operations and our long-term efficiencies, to keep our school system vibrant and to keep having school choice in our city, having two great schools. And a brief update on our fundraising, and we're keeping our fundraising moving forward too for this. It's been a strong, for our $30 million goal, we recently surpassed 22 million. And of that 22 million, 41% of that has been outside of 514 zip code area. So there are a lot of non-local dollars coming from our donors, which helps our economy. So when it's all said and done, our new project will be a $30 million improvement to our community, helping position us for many years to come. Obviously, we're a top employer of the area, so we could not do this best version of our master plan without the city of Carroll and this one city block of Southeast Street. So from Kemper Catholic School, we thank the city for considering this, and hopefully we can stay on a tight timeline. Especially, we were hoping to start right after school, but our contractor said with some heavy cement work and concrete work in the winter, that's gonna add a lot of costs, so they wanted to accelerate it and start in March already. I don't know what exact date in March yet.
John, I've got a couple of questions. You said you're gonna consolidate all of the stuff there. What will happen to the St. Lawrence building?
Yeah, St. Lawrence, the parish has got some expanded programming. The parish wants to move their offices into St. Lawrence. The parish has some extra programming. They've got tight little spaces in the basement. They would love to have a classroom or multiple classrooms. We're in conversation with Catholic Charities, who rent space today, and they're looking for more space. So Catholic radio station, we're looking at it'll be a vibrant, busy building.
And I guess my second question, with a project this size, is it a 18-month build or?
Yes, 18 to
2 years?
Yeah.
Optimistically, 18?
That's what we were told at first, but if we can get started in March, we're hoping to move in fall of 28, summer of 28, to be ready for the fall of 28.
Okay.
So I appreciate kind of all that you've done on this. It still doesn't negate the fact that we all took an oath to the public. And if we're vacating public land, we have to give them a fair amount of time. That's why the system is set up this way. I'm not saying we can't maybe waive the third one, but I mean, the system is set up this way. We all said an oath to abide by this, and now because of concrete or something like that, that's not the public's fault. Does that make sense? So I want the project to go forward, but I feel that we are required to follow certain laws and procedures as this goes through, and that's why I'm suggesting that we don't. The other one was a technicality from 1960s. This is the vacation of public property. So,
Can you wait?
I have a question. I'm reading the memorandum of understanding, and it mentions that John will give us notice as soon as he has an indication. And I have a question for you, John, regarding the architect, which is what, BCDM is doing it?
Yes.
Okay. It says this will allow, vacating will allow Kemper's architect to further design the expansion of the Holy Spirit Center without concern about owning owning the street. So in other words, we need to wrap this up so that your architect can implement the plans, right?
Yes.
Construction can begin. So I'm good with just moving ahead with this. I haven't heard any complaints. People are excited about it. We've talked about this for over a year, as John said. I think the public has had a lot of time to weigh in. I don't know if anybody else has heard anything about this. And we asked the hospital people if this was going to be a concern. They told us not at all, even though they're working on their renovations and have a big multi-million-dollar project going. So I think we need to help them expedite and get
And I am
moving.
willing to expedite, I'm not asking to, like, there are procedures in place. We're already gonna forefront this by waiving the second one. Like, there are procedures in place to make sure that the public has enough time to process what is going on. That's where I stand.
Okay.
If everyone else doesn't agree with me, that's.
Is there any other comments?
Yeah, I'll make a
Do you have
motion.
any trouble waiting until 2 weeks?
Yeah, Cody's here from McClure, I think.
We're fine?
Yeah, I think we're okay.
So it will not hold anything up, Cody.
For us to start, we'll have to have frost out of the ground anyway, and with what we see over the next
Okay,
10
okay,
days, I think we'll probably be delayed a week anyway.
okay, so it won't mess up the plans.
It shouldn't,
Okay,
no.
thank you.
Man, like, you get what I'm saying, just, there's a procedural process that we should go. I hate to do it, and then we rush it through, and something comes back because we didn't go through the procedural process, and then you're really stuck, right? Like,
Thank you.
Just make the.
I'll make a motion to approve the first reading and wait for the second reading, obviously.
Okay.
Approve the first reading.
That
so-
works.
Second, third.
Second, yeah, but.
Wait for the second.
We'd have to wait for the second
Yep.
anyway.
But
so-
I'll approve the
It's just a
first
motion.
reading.
Okay, and Jason did that, made the motion, and Jeff seconded. Roll call, please.
Atherton?
Yes.
Dirks?
Yes.
Coster?
Yes.
Seaman?
Yes.
Bauer?
Yes.
Taylor?
Yes.
Hang on,
Oh,
we haven't
sorry.
closed the public hearing.
You're right, yeah,
We're
go
gonna
ahead.
close the public hearing at 5:36. Now, Jason,
I
I'm
will
very
make a
sorry.
motion to approve
Make
the
the
first
same
I'll
reading.
second my second.
Okay,
I'll first my first.
okay, now, hello.
Okay, roll call vote again. Atherton?
Yes.
Dirks?
Yes.
Coster?
Yes.
Seaman?
Yes.
Bauer?
Yes.
Taylor?
Yes.
Motion is approved.
Now, because my kids go there, I hope this goes through. It's just, we have to go through the procedures to get there. So, not that just because my kids go there, but I hope it does get through.
All right, we'll move on to resolutions, and the first resolution is disposal of portion of Southeast Street, and we need to open a public hearing on this, and it is 5:37 PM. And Dave?
Would we still do this if we're not?
So we're gonna have to wait.
Yeah, good question, Jeff. We have set the public hearing for tonight, so I think we proceed with, we proceed with the public hearing.
Right.
Council, if they can elect, if you want to approve the resolution, but it would be subject to the passage of the ordinance in 2 weeks.
Why don't we just do it all in 2 weeks?
Oh, I'm sorry?
Just do all this in 2 weeks.
I'll second that.
Okay.
Is that for the
Hang
No,
on,
we-
hang
Just
on.
wait.
We'll do the public hearing.
No, we still have to have a
First
public
reading.
hearing.
Public
Yeah.
hearing, approve the first reading.
But I'm gonna have to close the one I just opened.
Is it
No, it's still
open?
open.
We're open.
Right.
Yeah,
It's still
but
open.
do the public hearing for this.
Okay, all right. Any comments from council? Dave, go ahead and make your presentation. I'm sorry, that's all, or are you done?
No,
You're good.
I'm actually done, yes.
All right.
And the disposition actually dovetails into the vacation of the street itself. So once the street is vacated, council will take a vote at its next meeting to dispose the vacated street to Kemper. So,
Okay.
And the proposed bill is $5,000 for those people that are watching. So, I don't
Yeah,
have this
yeah,
nice
Kemp-
thing in front of them.
Kemper has presented an offer to purchase the street for $5,000.
So I'll make a motion to approve.
I just wanna make
Need to
sure.
close.
Wait.
We're still in that, but anybody from,
Close the public hearing.
yeah, I wanna make sure nobody out here needs to speak on this or feels the need to. Come on up. Okay, now we'll close the public hearing. It's 5:39 PM. And go ahead now, Jason.
Now I'll make a motion to approve the first reading.
No, it's just a resolution.
No, this is just a resolution.
Resolution.
Yeah.
Okay, is there a second? Yeah, Jason and Jeff. Roll call, please.
Seaman?
Yes.
Coster?
Yes.
Taylor?
Yes.
Atherton? Dirks?
Yes.
Bauer?
Yes.
Resolution's approved.
All right, thank you. And we'll move on to Public Works and Police Collective Bargaining Agreements, and Aaron.
Thank you, Mayor. On February 10th, we did meet with both the Public Works Union and the Police Department Union, and we negotiated the wages. We were only negotiating the last 2 years of the contracts with the two unions. And as you can see on the memo, the Public Works agreement was for a 3% increase this year and a 2.5% increase for the following year. The police agreement was 3.5 this year and 3.5 next year. Recommendation would be council consideration and approval of a resolution approving of the bargaining agreement with the Teamsters Union for the Public Works, and then a resolution approving the collective bargaining agreement with the Teamsters Union for the police union.
So I just want to verify, Aaron, during our meeting, we kind of talked about the one tech two, obviously the 6-year progressive pay to 100%. There's no way that we can go back to that and say, hey, we don't like, just because you work somewhere for 6 years, you're automatically up to the 100% of that pay rate.
That part of the negotiation was not open during this contract.
What did you?
Will it ever be open? So this is.
So to answer that, when the contracts expire here in 2 years, that means the entire contract is then open for negotiations.
Okay.
So in 2 years, we can have some negotiations regarding steps and all that stuff.
So yeah, my question is here, with the 6 years, so we hire somebody, they're here for 6 years, they're automatically at the top rate. Doesn't really, you know what I mean? Like it kind of, I feel like it takes power, one, away from the council, two, from the city manager, and two, from the section heads, where they should have a little bit more discretion just because somebody works there for 6 years. I'm sure in this business, like every other business, you have one guy that shows up and runs around with like a chicken with his head cut off, and there's another guy that's probably not running. And they're both hired at the same time. The one that's running around with his chicken, with his head cut off for 6 years should be at 100%, where the one maybe that isn't putting in as much effort maybe shouldn't be at that 100%. And by doing this contract, it's like you're automatically at the 100%. So I'm trying to get it so that section heads, city managers, council, and everybody has a little bit more power on you're promoted somewhat on your merit, not necessarily as a bad thing, but we can incentivize this to get the, more productivity out of all of our employees.
I agree with you 1,000%, but when we first went union, I had the same argument as we negotiated the very first contract in 1990, I think it was. The unions absolutely, they won't, there's not a union in the state that's like that. I agree with everything you said, and in a perfect world, I think that's the way it should be. I think we should try it, but I'm guessing we'll get shot down.
Yeah, we might get shot down. I just want to try it the next time, kind of put a bird in the ear of like, if we can do something to make.
Yeah.
So on the other side of that, if somebody's doing really, really good, do you wait 6 years or do you get them up there faster because you want to keep them?
Yeah. The unions, for whatever reason, this is gonna sound very negative, but the whole concept of an automatic raise does exactly what Jason says. It kind of encourages mediocrity, because this guy that's working this hard makes this much money, and this guy who's working this hard makes this much. I actually had somebody say to me once during an evaluation, I don't care what my evaluation says, I get paid the same either way.
I would even, if there was a minimum max on each year, where we can put somebody at the min and say, hey, you need to kick it into gear to get you up to the max, so that at year 4, you're now at the max, just so we have some type of initiative, you know what I mean? And I'm not saying that most of our employees do show up, they do their best, I'm not saying anything like that, but it gives us a little bit more power and a little bit more juice, I think, for managers and for supervisors to be like, hey, we're promoting you on merit somewhat, not just, you're just there, you know what I mean? And so, it's just a leadership level of looking at it, I guess, is where I'm kind of looking at it. So I'd like to at least bring it up within the next time it comes up. So, okay.
All right.
I have a question. What number like in your budget, did you use 4%? Or what did you, for your number?
Mine was presented at 3%.
3. So we have to change that?
I had talked to Laura, we got some plan, I'm not sure exactly, or maybe with Aaron, but there's a plan in place, that's Lori's to figure out.
Laurel fine.
Yeah.
She'll get it worked out.
that's like a really legitimate question. Like, how do we,
Where's it coming
where do we take the money from? Are we taking it from somewhere else?
Most likely, it'll come out of the general fund balance to cover it. It won't mean a raise in taxes or anything like that. It'll just be out of the balance that we already carry in our general fund.
Okay, that's a great answer. Better than, we'll find it somewhere, like,
Well, Laura's good at finding it and doing those things. But
Historically, the police budget ends up with a balance at the end of the year. That's those re-estimates that you've seen. It'll come out of that.
I know, I just ask questions. I just like a simple answer. Okay, it's not that difficult.
All right, we'll take these as separate
Yes, please.
motions.
Yes, please.
I'll look for a motion to approve the resolution approving collective bargaining agreement with Teamsters Union Number 238 Public Works Union. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Jeff
Second,
And Carolyn seconded. Roll call, please.
Dirks,
Yes.
Kaler,
Yes?
Bauer,
Yes.
Atherton,
Yes.
Seaman,
yes.
Coster.
Yes,
Resolution's approved.
Okay, I look for a motion to approve the resolution approving the collective bargaining agreement with Teamsters Local Union Number 238 Police Union. Is there a motion?
So moved.
By Jeff
Second,
and Carolyn seconded. Roll call, please.
Seaman,
yes.
Dirks,
Yes.
Kaler,
Yes?
Bauer,
Yes.
Atherton,
Yes.
Coster.
yes.
Resolution's approved.
Very good. Move on to reports. The first report is the US Highway 30 traffic signals and Randy.
Thank you, Mayor. The city has been contacted by the nonprofit law firm of Disability Rights Iowa on behalf of a city resident. They have asked for the city to install accessible pedestrian signals at the intersections of US 30 and Court and the full intersections of US 30 and Main and Clark. Okay, following the receipt of their letter, we opened discussions with DRI to try to quantify and maybe reduce their request. They're aware that the city is planning a comprehensive traffic signal upgrade, and that upgrade, and by law, will include pedestrian accessible signals. They'll be incorporated into the total project. But the DRI and their client was not satisfied with the implementation schedule of that entire project. So we started to pursue something that would satisfy them and hopefully the city for an interim solution. And what we've come up with is to create 2 pedestrian access routes, one being Highway 30 crossing at Main Street, and the other being Highway 30 crossing at Clark Street. Okay, those then would, to make them accessible, would require the installation of accessible pedestrian signals. And that we have worked with our signal supplier to determine what it takes, and their push button installations at those 2 crosswalks. The push buttons would not call for a protected crosswalk, but it would notify the person of the status of the pedestrian crossing. Okay, the DRI and their client have accepted that as an alternative, an interim alternative. The cost of that, based on our traffic signal supplier, is $12,960 for the equipment and installation on the current signal system. And I'd recommend, if you are so inclined, that it be funded through the capital projects sidewalk transition plan.
Randy, a couple questions. One, what would the timeline be as far as installing this equipment if we approve it?
There is about a 30 to 45-day delivery on the equipment and about the same amount of time for installation. So
we're still looking at
60 to 90 days.
June, July, August,
Yeah, February, March.
and that's
Yep.
acceptable to them?
Yeah.
Okay, and I guess the second question, I think I know the answer to this already, but this equipment, if we put it in, is not compatible with the new system that we're gonna put in the next, so we,
That's-
is it just become garbage then, or is there a trade-in value or a resale value? Or
here's my question, is this interchangeable so that we can move it? We've had a lot of, 25% of the population wants a light at Adams Street. So if we put in this little thing right here, the equipment here to mark the designation of a crosswalk, can we move it then to Adams Street?
Okay, in order to do anything at Adams Street, you'd have to construct dedicated, well, either reactivate the signal that's there or construct a dedicated pedestrian signal. And in all likelihood, you wouldn't want to use this type of equipment, or you would not use this type of equipment.
How
You know,
much would it cost to use equipment that I'm gonna temporarily use at one location and move it to the other location?
Well, it'd probably be,
Because right now I'm just spending $13,000 and it's gone.
yes, after,
Right? Do I spend $25,000 and then I can move it to, that's where I'm at, like, do I spend
I see.
$25,000 to put it in temporary and then I move it over to Adams Street? And that's appeasing, you know, I mean, we've had some complaints about the crosswalk there where I could, like in Florida, you have a little thing that you push and it lights up and it's a pedestrian crosswalk. I can now move that to Adams Street and Clark Street, so I'm just not completely just flushing $14,000 down the drain.
probably not at all, because the equipment, that if you wanted to move this equipment to Adams Street, you'd have to move your old controller equipment to Adams Street. And the old controller equipment is the reason that you're doing a signal upgrade, is to get rid of the old controller equipment.
So this is the only equipment we can use? Like, cause I go other places and there's like a standing flashing thing that you push, right? And then there's a sign when you pull in town that says yield to pedestrian. You push the button that flashes yellow and people stop. So it's like, is this an Iowa thing? Cause it works everywhere else. And so I can temporarily put that in at this intersection and now I can move it. And I'm not just wasting the money, or is it just that this is the only equipment that we can use there?
This is the cheapest, okay? This
Okay,
is
but
the cheapest thing you
it's not the
can
cheapest
do,
if I'm
but
just burning $14,000 or $13,000.
you'd have to replace all the controller equipment in order, okay, I'll back up. If you wanted to move it, you would have to purchase new controller equipment, and that would be a different type of pedestrian accessible signal, okay? This one is the simplest one we could get that would operate with your current equipment. If you wanted to move this one, you'd be moving your current obsolete controller to Adams Street, which already has an obsolete controller.
So does ADA make us affect the actual light that's hanging? And maybe we're on a different level here. I'm talking about, how would I explain? Anyone, I think you guys shaking your head like you know what I'm talking about. This, I don't know how to explain what I'm talking, like.
This is not a standalone pedestrian rapid flasher.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what you're
That's a
talking
device
about.
for them. And we put that in and then we can move it.
That would be more expensive to put a rapid flasher in.
I understand how much more expensive because because I could utilize it. At least I'm not just,
Well,
the money's not just gone.
You'll have
Is
to-
it 25? Is it 30,000 where I'm only, you know what I mean? Because if I'm gonna lose $14,000, right? And this thing costs twice the value, right? I'm not losing money because now I get to use it somewhere else. Well, right now I'm just spending $14,000 and I'll never see it again.
But you wouldn't put a rapid flasher at Main Street because it has a traffic signal on it. So this will operate
This
with
is
the
just a
traffic signal.
temporary fix because
Right.
we're getting the button in there.
Yep.
So I'm asking for, as a temporary fix, I understand that in a normal situation, no way, no how would we ever put a rapid light there. We're left with this situation right now. Is it suitable that we put a rapid light there and then we move it to Adams?
No. You can't
do
put a rapid light with a traffic signal.
Okay.
That would be illegal.
Okay.
That's what it is.
Randy, can you tell me this temporary system that we're gonna put in, let's just say that I'm this person that needs this situation. I push the button, what happens? Is it an audible signal only? It
There-
doesn't actually do anything with the light, right? It just lets them know that it's safe as far as the lights?
It would give them the indication of of the status of the pedestrian crossing. Okay, right now out there, you've got a walk, don't walk. Okay, it would tell them when the walk comes on or when the walk is not on. You know, it's audible and tactile.
And it's an actual sentence, I mean, it's a short sentence like, okay. to
Walk,
or
don't
whatever
walk,
they say.
yes. It's an audible signal, standard audible signal. But like I say, the equipment that we now own does not have the capability for this to place a call for a walk signal. It will just inform them of the walk signal that's currently in the cycle.
Right.
And when you say tactile, is it,
Vibrates.
right, what's that? Oh,
It
vibrates.
it vibrates if you put your hand on it, or if you want to keep your hand on it, it would likely vibrate. But it will be audible.
I'm curious, and call me ignorant, but how do I find the button to push it in the first place? Is there,
Well,
how does the person who's,
okay, in the upgraded system that we'll eventually get to, those will be operating so that they will produce an audible signal so that a person can find it. In this system, we know, we've discussed it with the DRI and their client, that that's not needed. That only when he pushes it will the audible signal come on. And they're okay with that. So that's why, you know, we did basically about the minimum we could because it's an interim solution. And we don't know if it'll have value at the end of that short life.
and I'm guessing it would vary from individual to individual about how visually impaired they are, about how they would go about actually finding the button in this temporary system.
Yes.
How big of a gap is this gonna cover, just from my own knowledge?
Time-wise,
Yeah, time-wise?
Yeah. Probably a minimum of 18 months.
Randy, did you have a sense in the letter from, I think it was Danielle, she mentions that under Title II of the ADA, maybe Dave would want to weigh in, mentions this, we would be discriminating against people with disabilities. So would we be setting ourselves up for litigation, which would be a lot more money than the 12,000 plus? Did that ever come up in your conversation?
Oh, I'm sure we're up. for
I mean, they've
litigation.
cited the part of that ADA Act.
Right.
Yes, we know we're up. for
I gotta
litigation.
find my memo.
We did not discuss
They
that
did
during
not
this
discuss it.
time.
Okay, thank you.
They did obviously cite the ADA.
Right, it's
and,
cited in the letter, yeah.
And one of the position we took is what we believe the ADA is directing, that if you have a request for an accessible route, that you try to work with that person to provide that accessible route for them. And that's what we did here. You know, we just,
Sure,
it's the spirit of the ADA, and as long as it's accepted by both the DRI and the client, it's probably successful. I don't know.
Okay.
It's up to Dave.
Soon Danielle Workman doesn't work for free. We're gonna see. If we don't do anything.
So I have a question, Randy, then so do we have a legal document with Dave that they all agreed to this? Like, I mean,
Just the,
just word of mouth? Like, should we have something?
a letter, they had sent a letter that, or an email that said they agree with the proposed solution.
Have you seen
Yes.
that letter?
They've confirmed that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
by email.
I don't recall. Have I received a copy of that letter, Randy?
I could check and see.
We'll
if you
we'll
have
check it, yeah,
Sure.
yeah.
So can we
But
approve it on the grounds that the letter is good? I wanna make sure that we put this thing in, and now we got this $13,000 thing that doesn't work, and we gotta put it in another. Does that make sense? Just trying to manage our losses here is basically what I'm trying to do.
I think we just have to have guarantee that it's in
Yeah,
writing.
This is in writing.
No, and it was Randy's understanding, and along with mine, Randy was keeping me informed with the dialogue. But they have acknowledged the fact of what we're doing, and they've accepted that. So, and I'll double check
Sure.
the written document that was returned to us, just to confirm.
All right, I'll look for a motion to approve the.
Mayor,
What?
could I say something
Go ahead.
before the motion? I'm Barry Bruner. In our household, I have my wife who's handicapped and in a wheelchair. And Jason, your comments were tremendous for the long-term solution. Mary has been downtown. Our opening of our Adams Street, the commercial area of our downtown is not accessible to the handicap now. I think we ought to look at a long-term plan rather than this piecemeal solution that Randy has handled with the handicapped folks, because it is just not, it's not welcoming, it's not open. And I think if we're gonna redo things and spend a lot of money on new lights and everything else, we ought to look at a long term. And 13,000, 14,000, I just think we need more access for the handicapped, and it's not gonna go away. We're always gonna have disabled people wanting to go to our downtown areas, and we need to have them do it safely. So as a spouse of someone who would greatly appreciate more safety downtown, I would also greatly appreciate, I think we ought to do a more comprehensive look at our lighting.
That's what I'm saying, if it was 24,000, I'm already down to 12,000. I might as well spend another 12,000 and use it, you know, like, I mean, at that point, like,
I
yeah.
just think if there's something we can do to reuse, to however, open those
You're
areas.
saying there's
up.
nothing we can use there that can be reused?
Reuse, not in the system that you'll be asked to approve. As far as reuse of the equipment, I don't know. We'll check and see if, for example, our traffic signal supplier has knowledge of another location that might want to use this type of equipment in their obsolete traffic control equipment. Yeah, we'll pursue that, but there's no guarantees. We don't know what a market would be for something like this out there.
I got a little question for you. Are you asking to stop the traffic every 30 seconds or just stop the traffic when a pedestrian wants to cross?
I don't know.
Just
I would think.
Because the stoplights were every 30 seconds.
for future reference, the new stoplights will all be ADA compliant, so we won't have to have it'll be a different controller, obviously, which is what Randy has said, but every stoplight that we have will be ADA compliant.
I'm just worried about these non-lighted intersections, because there's people traveling on those sidewalks too.
Not that it makes any difference, too much difference, but I spent 10 hours studying this out, and I only saw one person in that 10 hours, and it was an employee of a business across Highway 30 going to their car.
Yeah, and hopefully that continues.
Yeah.
But I think we have to have that accessibility available.
And I get it, guys, I mean, I live on Adams, I know, so, I mean, I thought we could use some, I was trying to manage the losses, so, you know, like.
They were good thoughts. Thank you for
All right,
listening.
thank you, thanks, Rick.
Well, I mean, if there's no questions, I guess I'll make a motion to approve it.
All right, Jason made a motion, is there a second by Jeff? Any roll call, please?
Taylor?
Yes?
Bauer? I'm sorry.
Yes.
Seaman?
Are you choking?
Carolyn?
Oh, yes, sorry.
Dirks?
Yes.
Atherton?
Yes.
Coster?
Yes,
Motion
yes.
approved.
All right, we'll move on to the airport hangar, FAA initiation of work for proposed fiscal year 2026 project. And Aaron?
Thank you, Mayor. With the initiation of the go letter from the FAA, we had been talking in our budget about funding the new hangar. The FAA will be looking for us to find our financial support for this to continue the project. So in order to do that, I felt it was necessary for the council to consider and then decide whether they want to approve this project or not at this point.
A question, and I think I know the answer to this, but in the actual go letter, it says federal share requested 174,000. That's just for the engineering portion?
Correct. That's just the engineering part
When I
of
first
it.
saw that, I thought, oh gosh, I thought we were going for 900,000.
Right.
Okay, so this is just for that
That's
initial.
that's just the initial, but the project itself, this is just the start of the project, and it'll continue once the engineering goes and the FAA approved the engineering and all that stuff. So it's pretty important for us to approve whether or not we're interested in being involved in this project.
Have we reached out to any of these corporations that are having problems with it for donations that haven't?
At this point in time, I'm not aware of that.
Did we ever get a solidified number of jets that lands there?
There are over 700 landings there in a month. I don't know which ones are jets or which ones are.
I asked Don, I went out there last week and talked to him for a while. He didn't know an exact number. He said they come in fairly frequently, but as far as quantifying it, he was not able to do that.
I met with Don personally as well, and he gave the same response. He could not tell us the number coming in and out. I asked him, I said, Don, it'd be great, because he's naming off all the types of jets that come in. I said, you can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on a sheet of paper. Like, I just need to know some number so we can let the people of Carroll know that there's you got to quantify that dollar that we're taking from our lost money. And I guess my other question here of this 174,000, is that coming off of these other grant funds that we have in here? We have 2 listed in the budget for 477,000, the other is 339,000. So is that 174 going to come off of those 2 numbers?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, the numbers that were put into the budget was the engineer's estimate that we had at the time when we prepared the budget for the total project, and then the breakdown of what the amount would be for federal share versus the city's share.
Right.
And state, there is some state funding that they're estimating in that as well for the total project.
And currently, in our current budget we're in now that ends June 30th, we dedicated and lost $32,500 toward design work. So with anticipated 174 and the 32.5, that would be a total of 206,500 for design work only.
Well, that
So
was
that's
originally
the
for the
step.
new way.
That's the stage we're in. We're on the FAA timeline, and so that's where they're at in the process. They drive the train as far as what is going on when during the process. They're very structured, and so that's where we're at. Design phase
This may be a
only.
question for you, but is the engineering bill typically a percentage of the total project? Or, as a layman, I'm having trouble grasping $200 and some thousand to design basically an open building. And I recognize there's a big span, 100-foot span, and you've got to engineer the strength and things like that, but it seems like a lot of money. Is it typically a percentage of the total project, or how's that works?
Most of what we do in the public works and the fees for engineering services are calculated based on what the engineering firms believe the time that they'll put in on them. We're just buying time. Now, as far as stepping back and taking a look at those numbers over the long term, yeah, you kind of come into a percentage of construction cost. And it varies a lot. Some projects are more complicated than others. You know, a building with a lot of mechanical, electrical is more expensive to design than an open building with lights on and heat, you know. So, yeah, it can be boiled down for comparison's sake to a percentage, not normally the way they would propose it, though.
Thanks.
So Sorry I had to use my phone. I'm a single dad. My wife's in Arizona. My kid's late for basketball practice. That's why I'm looking now.
All right, any other questions about this?
So according to this letter from the GO letter, you have until 4/1 to submit the engineering agreement. Is that correct?
Correct.
All right, is there a motion to approve the fund of the FA project at the airport hangar at this time?
So moved.
By Carolyn and Jeff seconded. Roll call, please.
Bauer,
Yes.
Atherton,
No.
Seaman,
Yes.
Jerks,
Yes.
Kaler,
Yes.
Coster.
No.
Motion approved 4-2.
Okay. We'll go on to the fiscal year 26-27 proposed property tax levy and set the public hearing date. Laura.
Yes. This has been, I know we talked about a lot of this information in here at our last meeting when we were wrapping up our budget discussion, but as a good practice, I wanted to bring this back to reiterate the information plus so you can see what the public hearing notice will look like. That'll go to the paper when it's time to publish that. As a reminder, we need to set the maximum proposed levy by March 5th, so that's why we're taking action tonight to officially do that at what was discussed during the budget meetings of $11.25, as well as this will set the maximum amounts of dollars in our budget proposal to the public. So the next steps would be approve setting the public hearing on this maximum, or the proposed property tax levy. We will set that public hearing for a special council meeting on March 23rd. That would be held at 5 p.m. Once we hold that public meeting, that public hearing, then we would have our regular council meeting on March 23rd to begin at 5:15. And then at that meeting, we would set our public hearing on the whole entire budget. And then we would hold the public hearing on the entire budget at our regular meeting on April 13th. So for tonight, I was wanting to show you based upon our discussions that we had during our budget work sessions, what the public hearing notice would look like for the proposed property tax levy. That'll go in the newspaper, and setting the levy of $11.25 will give the information the county auditor needs then to generate that public notice, that public mailing that will go out to all the property taxpayers.
Does that go out with all entities involved in that letter, or included in that?
It will include city, county, and school district.
Okay, but then there's a few little odds and ends that it does not include.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep. So tonight I'm looking for a motion to set March 23rd as our date for the public hearing on the fiscal 26-27 proposed property tax levy.
So moved.
By Jeff,
Second.
and Jason seconded. Roll call, please.
Atherton,
Yes.
Seaman,
Yes.
Jerks,
Yes.
Bauer,
Yes.
Taylor,
Yes.
Coster.
Yes.
Motion is approved.
All right, thank you. Committee reports are all available as always.
Motion to adjourn.
I have no comment as mayor today. How about anyone from the city council would like to present anything?
I've got about a 10-minute presentation. If we
We'll
want to
adjourn,
wait.
and then you can go on a 10-minute rant.
Is everybody okay with 10 minutes?
I'm fine.
Okay.
All right, first of all, give you an update on what's going on in Des Moines. The 10% cash reserve sounds like it's dead, so it'll go back to what it normally is. And the 60% that is needed for a bond issue is not gonna happen, the way it sounds. TIF, this could happen. TIF, they're talking about taking the school money that we get, not getting that. And then they're not gonna backfill, so we just won't get it, and the school will keep that segment of a bond. But they are talking about lowering the LMI to 20% from, we're what, about 46% right now or something?
42%.
42.
Question on the TIF, would that impact TIF that's already in place or only future?
New
TIF?
future,
Okay.
yeah.
But can you expand a little bit on what we looked at today with that? Just
I
to
got
give-
it right here.
Okay,
What do you mean?
what that dollar amount, or that levy amount, that actually would impact our TIF rate.
Well,
This?
the consolidated TIF rate is around
Right,
$24.
just to let council know
Yeah.
how impactful that could be on what the city would do for
Oh,
economic
correct.
development.
So
What was,
it's $24.02 a thousand of our consolidated. So if they take the school portion out, that's $7
It
and
was
some
over
change.
$7.
So that would
$7 per
mean,
thousand that we would not get on that.
correct, so that
particular
would knock us down to 24 minus, that'd be, knock us down to $17.
$16, right,
yeah.
which is quite significant as we're trying to, we typically use TIF as our mechanism for economic development.
I
And
don't
so
know.
that'll be very impactful.
This was the first one.
Expand the length or?
Well, I don't know, is that, that's not part of the talks, of being able to expand the number of years. It would just decrease the amount of TIF collection we could generate in a particular area.
So this is, this sheet here. Okay, if you look at this from the Islands for Tax Relief website, you can punch in this stuff. So these are the numbers I got from this. Our city population of 1,000 and more, 1,000 and more people, all the way to unlimited. There's very few cities that are less than us. It's these three plus a few more. I didn't take the time to do 900 cities here. But you can see Carroll's, if you had to buy 175, or the taxes on a $175,000 home for Carroll's 2,295. You can see the comparison to all the others. So besides the three you're seeing plus just a couple more, Carroll is the lowest taxed in the state on those dollars for homes.
You can't even buy a house for $175,000 anymore.
Well, if you look at the
Well,
275 and the 375,
On our
we're
budget
still,
book, on our budget book,
the
it was
fourth lowest.
$175,000 for the average home.
Right.
So there's a lot of homes underneath that amount.
And this is based upon the assessed values, right?
Yeah.
And what the comparison does is look at that, it's the consolidated, it's not just the city levy only, it's the.
So the bar chart
consolidated.
is just, duplicate of what's above, so, that's just to tell you that Carroll's is doing the right thing, and we're very reasonable with everything we're doing. The next one, that has the red ink in it, this one here. Okay, this is what the Senate Bill 3001 is thinking about doing. If you are over 60 years old and you have your loan paid off on your house, you will not have to pay property tax. The numbers for us, if you look at it, it says homes with owners 60 and 65. It was difficult for us to get the numbers between 60 and 65, so the county gave them to me at 65. But Glidden and Jefferson, Glidden just did it on their own, and Jefferson, I'm not sure how they got the numbers, but the amount of homes in Carroll that would get this advantage is 827 homes, which is 22% of our population. If you look at Glidden at 53, that's where they're really in trouble. The smaller the homes, the worse this is. So if this bill passes, we will lose $1 million. It's just gone, and you can look at Jefferson and Glidden's. Now they're saying, well, then you can pass this 0.5% extra in local option sales tax. Well, for us, that's $1 million, so that's kind of a wash. But if you look at Jefferson and Glidden's, if that passes, they can't even recoup the amount of money that they're going to lose. That's if both of these pass. And the Senate one looks like it's got some teeth in it, the way I'm hearing.
Beer's on you then, Laverne.
What's that?
Beer's on you then.
Yeah.
That's the good news.
So I actually presented this to the League of Cities on a Zoom meeting, and there was over 115 on it, and it's created some interest in everybody doing their own budget checks to find out how bad this really is. So on the lower chart, the black ink is what our budgets are for each of those departments, and the red ink is what you have to fill for property tax to operate those buildings.
if you were to lose that $1 million.
If you were to lose that $1 million of the local option sales tax. So just take the rec center for example. I I gotta get $1 million out of those red numbers. So if you take the rec center, basically 50% of that budget is from property tax. You'd have to close the rec center half the time if you so choose. You know, that's 400. You got another almost $600,000 to get out of all those other red numbers. You know, like golf course example, most of that is funded. It's only property tax of 19,000. So my recommendation, if I had to do this, I would say just leave the golf course alone and, you know, try and figure out where to get it. So what I'm getting at is you got to get with your legislatures, call them up and say, if this baby passes, we're in trouble, and a lot of cities are in trouble.
And that's assuming that they both pass, because in theory, they could pass the one and not the sales tax.
Or,
right?
yeah, they,
Then we're out $1 million.
Then you're out $1 million, but if they don't pass this, then you have an option of adding another 0.5%. But
And that's the 60 year, because I know there were two different, one was 60s, one was 65, one was total
Well,
elimination, one was a freeze.
so this is 60 and over. The reason I put 65 is because, to be honest, that's the Carroll's number, so it would be actually worse yet for us.
Are there still
It was just
three
too
or-
hard to get that
Are there 4 or 3 plans still floating out there?
Oh, there's a bunch of them. There's actually 4 on the 2% increase in dollars. That's probably gonna, because it's the Senate, the governors, and the House Republicans and the House Democrats, they're all saying that 2% is probably gonna happen. That's a different issue. Then there's the other one from the governors that you freeze your increase in your property tax from 1 year to the next. Well, if you freeze it forever or however long, but that is if you're 65 and over and the value of your home is $350,000 or less and debt-free, loan paid off. Well, I went and got the numbers basically out of our budget book and got it okayed, and that number on a $100,000 home is $30. $300,000 home, $90. So, you know, the whole goal on that is to not have anybody move out of the state of Iowa, is what they're wanting, older people.
Here's the good news too. We're also, Carroll was set up, we gotta come up with $1.2 million, right? We don't build a hangar, we don't build a 4 seasons shelter. In our budget, we have $1.2 million sitting there.
Laverne, I have a I'm sorry.
I wasn't done yet. I mean, there's gonna have to be needs, wants, and desires. I mean, if we didn't build those 2 things, literally everything in Carroll, your taxpaying constituent would have everything the exact same.
Well, by
They
then
would
we'll
see
know
it
what
the exact same.
what the law
Yeah,
ends up
I mean,
being.
But that's when, sometimes I think when we vote no on these things, it's because there are other outlying entities that might affect where we're going to be at, you know what I mean? And so like, I've said it 1,000 times, I wanna say yes on the hangar, I do, I don't have the numbers to do it and stuff. This is looming over our head. I think it's fiscally irresponsible to spend money on things like this when we know we have this looming over our heads. Until we get some type of resolution of where we're gonna be at. Because I would, like you said, if we're selling shoes, we'd have to close the rec center. You're gonna see some pissed off constituents.
Oh,
We have
yeah,
to close the
yeah,
rec center, and we got a hangar, a corporate hangar up at the airport. Those are real lives and real numbers.
So to answer your question, when the legislatures are done, we'll know.
Yeah.
Laverne, I have a question about the loss, the 0.5% going on. When we craft the ballot issue that people will vote on, in the past, we usually set a sunset when we had earlier lost votes. Our most recent vote, which had the ballot issue for the rec center renovation, we set the ballot language to carry on the lost into perpetuity. In other words, no sunset. What are they saying about the ballot language? Our choices for ballot language.
They haven't determined all that yet.
Are they discussing it?
I don't know that.
Okay. Because I think that's important.
This budget bill that I'm presenting to you here is gonna be talked about next week. The freeze is being talked about Wednesday.
In committee?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So this is the Senate study bill next week.
The bill I'm showing you here is next week. That and the other property taxes of the 3% or 2% increase. That's next week. But the freeze is this Wednesday.
Well,
It's gonna force us to get more creative. I mean, we're gonna have to get more creative and buckle down for a while. I mean, it's,
Well, the other thing, Jason, if you look at this, the biggest thing is the population, the lower it is, the worse the impact this bill will be on them.
oh, yeah, I mean,
I just don't see it passing.
we're not in the worst situation, but I mean,
no.
it's still, it's gonna.
So
affect
that's,
us.
the reason I brought all this up and I presented it on the League of Cities to over 100 people is to get awareness to those people that you better get your numbers together and get with your state representatives. And,
I would like
and
once you hear
Dubuque,
that,
Dubuque was on that thing and they put their numbers together and talk about a mess. Ooh. So a lot of, you know, we got 22% of our population, you know, God, I'd hate to be Glidden. So if you look at Glidden, if we had their population, you know, we're gonna be like $1.5 million. You know, it's just, so that's what I put together and I presented, and then this others is just for your information to show that we're in pretty good shape. Basically, there's probably a half a dozen cities in the state of Iowa that have the population over 1,000 population that are below us. Otherwise, every 930 of them are above us.
I appreciate the information.
Yeah.
However, I'm still gonna make a motion to
Adjourned.
adjourn.
Just a second.
Just so you know, there's a legislative forum this Saturday. Like Vern said, go down to Manning and talk to these two guys. I
Okay.
think they're both gonna be there.
Thanks.
Great guys.
Yeah.
Still got a motion.
Still a motion, too.
Now the second. All right, Jason and Jeff seconded. Roll
Is there
call.
any extra of these? I gotta present this somewhere else.
Oh,
I think
is there a
I-
roll call vote?
You can make more copies,
We
okay.
have a photocopy machine somewhere.
Go ahead and keep them. She'll make me more
I can
copies.
make more copies.
Roll call vote.
And a roll call vote, please.
Okay,
Adjourn.
all right, we have a motion to adjourn. Seaman,
Yes.
Coster, Bauer,
Yes.
Taylor,
Yep.
Atherton,
Yes.
Dirks.
Yep.
We are adjourned.